This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
A stranger's stare turned love affair. Days made of habit or believing in magic. All the lines, best of times, spending nights making rhymes. Black and white or coloring. What you want is what you see. If you're looking for it, you'll find it. If you're looking for it, you'll find it. If you're looking for it, you'll find it. If you're looking for it, looking for it. If you're looking for it, you'll find it. If you're looking for it, you'll find it. If you're looking for it, you'll find it. If you're looking for it. Midnight turns into
MALSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, yes, they say that around here. It does not matter who the host is. That is for sure. Anyways, how are you doing today? That day after Wednesday, the day before Friday, that some people refer to as Friday Junior, which I still don't understand that. Because there you go. So anyways, today is Thursday, April the 20th of 2023, day 110th of the year, and only 255 days left to go. So there you go. We are coming to you from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM. And then we are hanging out with our friends and colleagues at that other place that we do stuff at.
You're being infiltrated. Radio Big.
Okay, so infiltration and Radio Big, that's kind of the way that the whole thing runs, in case if you were wondering about it. So I have to ask the important question. Most people would start off with, what have you been doing since yesterday? But if you were in the East Coast, and you were particularly in Florida today, and I'm not sure if it happened across the board because I'm still been trying to search, at 4:45 this morning, 4:45 this morning, and you have an iPhone or anything that's Apple deviced using iOS, you might have got a test this morning. Yeah, a little emergency test that said, test 4:45, no other actions needed. Boy, does that make you start wondering about some things right off the bat. Like, did somebody decide to really do this test at 4:45 in the morning, or was it 1:45 in the morning? If you were in the Pacific side of the plan, I mean, I don't know. It's kind of an interesting time to be doing a test, that's for sure. But we will find out through the rest of the day on what the hell people think about it. There is no doubt about that. So, anyways, let's talk real quick. If you want to see what the hell's going on with this thing, and you want to see what's going on with the shows of O's, no problem there. All you have to do is go to safetyfm.com or radiobig.fm and click on the link that says visual radio, and you can see what the hell's going on inside of this studio here. No problem there. And then if not, that's fine, because we prefer for you to listen to it on the radio. You have the Safety FM app. You have the Radio Big app. You have the iHeartRadio app. You have the TuneIn Radio app. I mean, so we're available in different spots. And then if you don't want to listen to it live and in real time, you can always go to the podcasting section where it'll get released like at 10 o'clock Eastern time. So there you go. Something along those lines. Remember, this is hour number 1 of 3 hours that we do in the morning, every morning here, especially if I'm here. It doesn't happen if I'm not here because those are the things on how those things do tend to work out. Just the way that it goes from time to time. So there you go. So we are a show that talks about safety in the news and safety. Some people like it, some people hate it, and we kind of like the mix of both. There is no doubt about that. So don't worry there. As we do talk about safety in the news, we bring in some professional broadcasters that they broadcast their heart's desire away about what the hell is going on inside of the world of everything, because that's just kind of the way that it goes. With that being said, if you want to interact with the show, it's no problemo in doing so. All you have to do is go to Call In Radio. Yes, callinradio.com, and that'll get you moving and grooving into our systemus and get everything moving inside of there. So don't worry about those things because that's the way that it goes. So pretty simple enough in regards of getting that moving and grooving for you. So with that being said, let's start talking right away about what the hell was trending in the overnight.
Here is what was trending. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so let's talk about the trends of the ends and what exactly is going to be on tap today. With that being said, China is on pace to lose its status of the world's most populous country, and the wrong man gets released in Washington State Prison. We'll talk about that as we get into the shit list. An IRS employee is seeking a whistleblower protection before coming forward with information suggesting that Biden's White House is interfering with the criminal investigation of Hunter Biden. We'll get into that if we get a little swampy today. Taylor Swift turned down the offer to endure FTX, and Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos can't catch a break. We'll talk about that as we get into hour number 2 and number 3. And another Star Trek spinoff is in the works, and Russ resumes filming this week, which that makes it even more interesting when it's all said and done, when you really start thinking about some of the stuff that's going on. Because keep in mind that was a big news story all over the place as that was coming down the pike. There is no doubt there. So with that being said, I think it is time for us to bring in some professional broadcasters. I have a feeling that Mark Mayfield is waiting over there at the desk, and he's going to tell us everything that's going on inside of the world of the news.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
NBC News Radio, I'm Mark Mayfield. A tornado near Oklahoma City has killed at least 2 people. The McLean County Sheriff's Office says more deaths are possible as search and rescue efforts continue in the town of Cole, which was hit by a tornado Wednesday. Emergency officials say there are reports of injuries in Cole and people trapped in shelters. A large tornado was also spotted east of Cole near the town of Shawnee on Wednesday night. At least 14 tornadoes were spotted across the central U.S. on Wednesday in Oklahoma, Kansas, and Iowa. The 3 Tennessee state lawmakers who led gun reform protests will visit the White House next week.
The president thanked them for their leadership in seeking to ban assault weapons and standing up for the democratic values.
White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre announced Tennessee Representatives Justin Jones, Justin Pearson, and Gloria Johnson will meet with President Biden on Monday. Jones and Pearson were expelled by the Republican majority for protesting on the House floor days after 3 students and staff were killed in a school shooting in Nashville. Biden previously thanked the 3 for spotlighting what he called undemocratic and unprecedented attacks on them. Theranos founder Elizabeth Holmes has filed an appeal of her January 2022 conviction on 4 counts of fraud. Brian Shook fills us in.
Her attorneys say the prosecutor's case echoed the public narrative, but they say the reality differed significantly because Theranos scientists told Holmes the technology worked. The blood testing lab received several patents based on its groundbreaking advancements. In 2015, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration approved an evaluation on the company's proprietary technique. Holmes is expected to report to prison later this month. I'm Brian Shook.
And Tesla's first quarter net income and earnings are down over 20% compared to last year. Net income for the electric car company came in at just over $2.5 billion, down 24% compared to 2022. You're listening to the latest from NBC News Radio.
Listen at your own risk. Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in London, I'm Ollie Barrett. Over 70 people have been killed in a crush at a school in Yemen. There have been clashes near Khartoum despite a new ceasefire between the army and paramilitary forces. Russia's accused of plotting the sabotage of wind farms and gas pipelines around countries including the UK, and China is dismissing allegations that it's running a network of secret police stations in countries around the world.
More sarcasm than a Mortal Kombat beatdown. Rated R Safety Show.
President Biden is calling on Republicans to take default off the table as Congress needs to pass legislation to raise the debt ceiling.
It would mean cuts in Social Security and Medicare, higher interest rates for things like credit cards, car loans, mortgages. Working people, middle-class seniors would pay the price for the entire economy would be at risk.
While speaking from a union training center in Maryland, the president contrasted his economic agenda with House Republican proposals for the economy. He claimed the MAGA Republicans want to make massive cuts to programs and benefits that millions of Americans depend on. His comments came just after House Speaker Kevin McCarthy announced a plan to lift the debt ceiling that includes spending cuts. Biden says the limit must be raised without conditions. Congress needs to raise the debt limit in the coming months to avoid defaulting on the nation's debt. The Supreme Court is extending access to an abortion pill at least until this Friday. Earlier this month, a Texas federal judge ruled production and distribution of the widely used drug be halted nationwide, citing alleged FDA approval problems. Last week, the Supreme Court put the judge's ruling on hold as they decide whether to allow full access to mifepristone while the case is appealed. The court's stay indicates that it needs more time to study the case and decide the next steps. Twitter removing protections for transgender people in its hateful conduct policy. Lisa Taylor explains.
The policy states that the social media platform doesn't allow slurs, tropes, or other content that intends to degrade or reinforce negative or harmful stereotypes about a protected category. Previously, CNN reports the statement was followed up with a sentence saying, "This includes targeted misgendering or dead naming of transgender individuals." Now, Twitter has quietly removed that line. GLAAD, an LGBTQ advocacy group, put out a statement calling out the change, calling Twitter unsafe for both users and advertisers. That comes as CEO Elon Musk tries to win back advertisers after some paused spending over hesitancy about policy changes. I'm Lisa Taylor.
And at least 78 people are dead and hundreds more injured in a stampede at a Ramadan charity event in Yemen. Mark Mayfield, NBC News Radio.
You are listening to something magical. You're listening to the Rated R Safety Show.
We all want to make sure that our family is protected in medical emergencies. What many of us don't realize is that health insurance won't always cover the full amount of an emergency medical flight. Even with comprehensive coverage, you could get hit with high deductibles and copays. That's why an Air Medcare Network membership is so important. As a member, if an emergency arises, you won't see a bill for air medical transport when flown by an AMCN provider. Best of all, a membership covers your entire household for as little as $85 a year. AMCN providers are called upon to transport nearly 100,000 patients a year. This is coverage no family should go without. Now, as a Jay Allen Show listener, you'll get up to a $50 e-gift card with a new membership. Simply visit airmedcarenetwork.com/safety and use the offer code SAFETY. And don't forget to tell them that Jay Allen sent you.
Do you have a claim and not sure where to turn? Coastal Claim Consultants are professionally licensed and bonded public insurance adjusters employed exclusively by you, the policyholder, to represent you after sustaining an insured loss. They assist policyholders in all aspects of processing the claim, working closely with the insured to provide the most equitable and timely settlement possible. They will provide you with comprehensive service, anything from inspecting the loss site, analyzing damages, compiling claim support data, reviewing applicable coverages, assessing replacement costs of damages, and negotiating your settlement. The adjusters at Coastal Claim Consultants will evaluate your claim for no upfront cost whatsoever. Coastal Claim Consultants' fee is based on contingency contracts and are paid when the insurance company sends you a check and it's in your possession. Coastal Claim Consultants are licensed to assist you in the following states: Florida, Texas, Oklahoma, Georgia, and South Carolina. For more information, go to coastal-cc.com. That's coastal-cc.com. For more information, lighting the way to recovery. Coastal Claim Consultants.
You are listening to something magical. You're listening to the Rated R Safety Show.
It's always amazing to me on how technology changes, and so does the environment that we're in. And cyber criminals will do everything they can to take advantage of a system. If you don't own a home, you have nothing to fear about what I'm about to tell you. But if you own a home like me and you don't guard it with home title lock, you're inviting home title fraud. One of the fastest growing crimes. Cyber thieves around the world know our home values are sky high at the moment, and that makes us a target. The crime is scary simple. Let me explain it to you real quick. A cyber thief simply forges your name on a property sale form and refiles it. That's it. Now he or she is on the deed of your home, and you have no idea that you're a victim. Then the person takes out a loan on your home and vanishes, leaving you to prove to the police that you didn't commit bank fraud. Home Title Locks puts a virtual barrier around your home title. The instant they detect any kind of tampering or anybody messing around, they help shut it down. Look, if you have equity in your home, you need to guard it the best way that you can. Some people might even go as far as guarding it with their life. Go to HometitleLock.com and register your address to see if you already are a victim. And enter the code RADIO. That's RADIO. That's the code RADIO for 30 days free of protection. That's code RADIO at HometitleLock.com.
Rated R Safety Show. Sarcastic? Never.
Listen to our host
Of the Rated R Safety Show.
self-implode on our airwaves, only on Safety FM.
Okay, so there you go. Currently 16 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out on this lovely, what day is it? I always get confused in the days. I'm kidding. It's it's Thursday. I mean, I don't think I need to say that 1,000 times, do I? I can, because it seems like it's something important to talk about. There is no doubt about that. So we got a lot of stuff going on inside of the world of the shit list. So we will talk about some of those things. Because why wouldn't we do that? I mean, that's a question. That's a question for sure. So let's get into it right away. So taking it from the top of the shit list, a 12.8 high by 38.1 feet long Tyrannosaurus Rex skeleton nicknamed Trinity was sold at auction in Switzerland this week for $6.1 million. The skeleton is made up by 293 bones and three different dinosaurs. Yeah, three different dinosaurs, and the rest being created by plaster and epoxy resin cast. According to Crawler Auction House, the sale the first time in Europe and the third time globally of the entire T-Rex skeleton has been auctioned. Trinity was purchased by a private collector. Well, I would think so. Definitely have to be in the privy in regards of what the hell's going on there. There is no doubt about that. Anyways, a pup in the UK may have saved his owner's life by groaning at his big toe. David Lindsay was awoken from a nap by a blood-curdling scream that his wife, who shouted, "Dave, the puppy's chewing up your toe." Sure enough, the 7-month bulldog Harley had used the appendage as his own chew toy. It turns out that the fractured toe and cuts were a blessing in disguise, because David realized that he no longer had feeling in his foot, which is a sign to be considered somebody who suffers of diabetes. After multiple CT scans, it was revealed that David had two blocked arteries, and for which he will receive stents, and which will help him restore his circulation to his limbs. So there you go. I mean, that's something. Can you imagine that all of a sudden your dog's going to town and that's what's happening? I mean, I'm just saying. Okay, a woman from British Columbia woke at 3 a.m. to her dog barking at something outside. Apparently, it's a dog day around here. When she looked out the window, she was in shock that a bear had broken into her car and was chugging cans of soda, 69 cans to be exact. How the hell do you have 69 cans of soda inside of your car? She took a video and photos of the thirsty animal, who appeared to be to prefer Orange Crush to the Diet Cola that she had purchased for a work event. for the damage to the vehicle. She told CBC News that he ripped the leather, broken window, and roller of a sticker residue everywhere. No word on whether her insurance covers Breyer's break-ins. I would hope so. I mean, and I don't know, is there a particular claim you have to file for that? Because you know how insurance companies are.
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, India will pass China as the world's most populous country by the middle of this year, according to new data from the United Nations. The report predicts that India's population will reach 1.428 billion sometime this year, with China estimated at 4.257 billion. The United States is around the top three with an estimated estimated population of 340 million. One of the factors driving India to overtake the top spot is the country's young population and high fertility rate. Hey now. So there you go. Your high fertility rate plays in a factor to your population. I mean, go figure. I mean, did we need that information? Did we need a little extra oomph right there as we were talking about it? Because it surely did not sound like we needed it. I mean, I'm just saying, just talking there in regards of some information. I mean, did you know that the fertility rate was high? I don't know. I'm asking you. You know what's going on. I mean, I have no clue. I just kind of hang out sometimes and go, I'm not sure what is happening. What is happening when nothing's happening? Maybe that's the way to look at it. I don't know. What are you thinking as I mentioned that? As I say the things that I say here, maybe that's the other factoid to bring into the equation. Yes, the equation as we are talking. I don't know. I mean, just something in general. That is for sure. So you might know someone who's bad at their job, but they can't be as bad as bad as the correction officer who discharged the wrong inmate. Take a listen to this. A 26-year-old inmate at Coralwitz County Correction Center in Washington State named Brian Roman went free on Monday instead of his cellmate. When the officer approached the cell, all three men were asleep. The officer called the name of the inmate who was set to be released, and Roman pretended to be the cellmate. The guard apparently unwittingly went right along with it. Roman then signed his cellmate's name on the release papers and took his property. It gets worse. No one noticed the error until the guy who was supposed to be released asked when he was actually getting out. So there you go. I am sure that some people will talk about that at a later date. Because who the hell knows what's going on? Take a listen to this. While some people fret about Chat GPT killing off jobs, some people are using the technology to take on more employment opportunities. Vice gets get into the overemployed economy. There's some information that you can find online about that if you're a little bit more interested on what the hell is going on, because why would you not be interested? Anyways, with that being said, I think we're close enough to that time for us to bring in some John Smalls and let him tell us what the hell's going on with the market.
Here's your Market Beat Minute for Thursday, April 20th, brought to you by GenesisGoldIRA.com. Equity markets held their ground Wednesday following a round of mixed earnings reports. News from companies like Netflix, Abbott Laboratories, and big banks left the market wanting more. While many are reporting better than expected, the results are offset by uncertainty and have the market in a wait-and-see mode. More reports are due out today, and that could tip the balance in favor of bulls or bears. The S&P 500 remains below resistance at critical levels. If the market cannot get above 4150 and stay there, it will risk another significant decline. The true risk is inflation and the Fed, which was highlighted in the Beige Book report. According to the Fed, activity is down in most regions, although inflation remains high and above target. The takeaway is that activity is declining, and the FOMC can be counted on to keep interest rates high until activity slows enough to tame inflation. You can get the inside track at marketbeatminute.com.
Okay, thank you, John Smalls, for the information right there as things are going on like everywhere. So here you go. Take a listen to this. The Dow lost about 79 points to close at 33,897 on Wednesday. The S&P was down less than 1 point, closing at 4,150. 54. The NASDAQ was up 3 points to close at 12,152. West Texas Intermediate closed at $79 a barrel, and Brent crude was at $82 a barrel. The national average price of a gallon of gas was $3.68 on Wednesday. Bitcoin slid hard. Yeah, there you go. Down over 4% and trading just over $29,000. There was 3,200 flights delayed within, into, and out of the United States on Wednesday, with about 90 cancellations. And for the second week in a row, a winning Mega Million ticket was sold in New York. The winner has the option of a $20 million jackpot or a $10.6 million cash payout. Friday night's drawing will be for $20 million jackpot or a $10.5 million payout. So there you go. There you go. Some information right there. So a lot of stuff going on as we are talking. No doubt about that. So let's continue talking about some other things. Take a listen to this. The parents who lost their children in the mass shooting at Robb Elementary in Uvalde last year that killed 19 children and 2 teachers waited over 13 hours on Wednesday to testify in favor of the bill that would raise the age for someone to purchase a semi-automatic rifle.
Tess didn't have a choice in life or death, but you as leaders have a choice of what my daughter's life will be remembered for. Will she die in vain, or will her life have saved another child, maybe your child?
HB 2744 would increase the age from 18 to 21 for someone to purchase a semi-automatic rifle, with the exception of peace officers, military members, and those honorably discharged. Family members told lawmakers that this was the law last May, then a gunman would not have been able to purchase the weapon that they actually used during the event. Uvalde parents testified in favor of the HB 2744, saying that they would have prevented Robb Elementary gunman from legally purchasing the weapon that he used for the attack.
So I don't come to you as a Democrat or Republican. I just come to you as a mom, as a parent. Enough is enough. Please do something. Do something now.
I don't know. I mean, you listen to stuff like that and it's heartbreaking, and you have to, what do you do? I mean, what do you do in this kind of environment? Because, there are people that stand on both sides of this aisle here. It's Republican, Democrat in regards of what they're thinking. And, sometimes some of these things get so divided on how things are done that it kind of flabbergastes me in regards of what happened. I understand. I mean, I understand that, you should not vote in regards of you just doing it one way. I mean, that cannot be everything inside of there. I just kind of take a look at it and I go, does that make the most logical sense when you're taking a look at everything? I mean, I just don't know. I have to ask the question, of course, in that particular regards. Take a listen to this. The nation's wildfire strategy is including examples from the Colorado Springs. The U.S. Fire Administrator Dr. Lori Moore Merrill was in town on Wednesday praising the extensive wildlife mitigation done by, wildfire, not wildlife, mitigation done by residents at Cedar Heights neighborhood.
This is what right looks like. Where the ground fuels have been reduced, we give ourselves some defensible space.
The work is credited to diverting flames from the massive Waldo Canyon fire nearly 10 years ago. America's top leaders in firefighting and prevention visited Colorado Springs on Wednesday to warn the climate change is making wildfire dangerously increasingly, whereas federal, state, and local fire leaders are now working together to launch a nation's fire service strategy. The plan includes mitigation, fire prevention for structures, early wildfire detection throughout technology, and expanded firefighting training and support. Dr. Steve Kieber, Vice President of the Fire Safety Research Institute, details the wildfire threat around the country.
More than 46 million residents in 70,000 wildland urban interface communities in the United States are currently at risk for wildfire.
Cedar Heights residents Dick Strandert talks about the successfully de-escalation of massive Waldo Canyon fire when reaching the Cedar Heights neighborhood. Take a listen.
We're pleased as a community because we have all worked together on this. We have this sense of how important it is.
So there you go. A lot of stuff going on right there as we are speaking. Take a listen to this. Longtime embattled Alderman Ed Burke is saying goodbye to the Chicago City Council. Burke was among the more than a dozen aldermen who did farewell yesterday. during their final city council meeting.
Chicago is and will always be the most American of American cities.
The most American of American cities. There you go. Berg decided not to seek re-election in November as he faces federal corruption charges, and he has been a member of the city council since 1969, making him the longest-serving alderperson in Chicago. I have to tell you, I recently was going to go out with somebody who's involved heavily in government, and we were just going to lunch. I mean, nothing extravagant. I mean, I'm talking like, we'll say not fast food, semi-casual dining, not even proper dining. And they were like, no, I can't have you buy me lunch. And I was like, what? Because on how the government looks at this. And I was like, wow, boy, has the world changed to an extent. Take a listen to this one. There is a new details about the crash that killed a 15-year-old boy who was waiting at a bus stop at Thousand Oaks. The boy's sister was standing feet away from where the collision happened on Tuesday afternoon, and their mother says it was a miracle her daughter wasn't hit as well.
I get the call from my daughter that there was an accident and he was unconscious and they were doing CPR. They did CPR the whole way to the hospital, and that was where he passed.
The boy who died and 3 other teens who were injured are all identified as students of the nearby Westlake High School. Police believe that the 24-year-old man intentionally drove into them after stabbing a Walmart employee in Simi Valley and getting into a dispute with a family in Camigo a shorter time. Thousand Oaks police confirmed that the suspect is a former Westlake high school student. The man is due in court today. The boy's sister describes what she saw.
I heard the skid and everything happened so fast. I don't know what happened, where he was or how he got hit at all.
The boy's mother says that her son will be greatly missed.
Everybody loved him, and I'm finding out how many more people loved him than I even knew about.
Well, it's just some interesting times as we talk about some of this stuff. There is no doubt about that. Take a listen to this. If you're stressed out, a new study says that you might need to turn to fish to help. It's called aquarium therapy. Bree Tennis reports.
The new study says just watching fish do their thing for as little as 10 minutes can reduce your heart rate and stress level by 3%. The National Marine Aquarium says their team found fish viewing also improves your mood and helps you sleep better. The longer you watch, the better you feel. Have an aquarium at the office? It boosts morale and productivity, also redirects negative feelings. The National Pet Owners Survey says there are about 13 million aquariums in American homes. They're the third most popular pet after dogs and cats. I'm Bree Tennis, NBC News Radio.
So there you go. I mean, I guess it's kind of easier to hang with the fish if you want to do that. So there you go. Anyways, 32 minutes past the top of the hour. So let's go ahead and do that thing that we do around this time, because why would we not want to do a thing that we normally do around this time already? I mean, how much sense does that make?
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
I hang out and I take a listen around to all the things that are going on and take a listen to what is happening inside of the world. And sometimes I get very excited about changes that are happening in the industry. And sometimes I'm very, disappointed with some of the changes that are happening in the industry if I'm keeping it realistic on what is going on. But I have to tell you, yesterday, I received a message from our nighttime host on Safety FM by the name of Jim Pozel with Safety Wars. And he was pretty excited when he found a news story, and he shared it with me that was coming out of Rockford, Illinois, in regards to some stuff that was going on at the Hard Rock, that they're building and committed to safety. And I figured, hey, why not share that today as we are taking a look-see around. So let's go ahead and jump into this, and we'll talk about it as we go in. Take a look. No, seriously, take a look.
Construction to building construction on Tuesday. Leaders behind the new Hard Rock Casino in Rockford signed on to a partnership to promote safety and health.
23 News reporter Connor Hollingsworth gets a sneak peek into the construction and why they say safety must be a top priority.
The concrete foundations were built all winter long through the snow and ice. We only lost about 7 to 10 days of work.
Construction on the Hard Rock Casino is on a roll. With the foundations in place, it's time to work on the steel structure.
We want those workers to come home safely to their families every day.
More than 1,200 workers will construct this future Forest City hotspot. To ensure their safety, Brent Johnson with Ringland Johnson Construction entered a strategic partnership with OSHA's state and federal offices, as well as the Mid-America Carpenters Regional Council.
The main part of it is being on site and being that second set of eyes.
So the partnership that we signed into has multiple goals that we're tracking, different training opportunities, job site audits, safety committees, all with the intent of providing the safest workplace possible.
Construction workers face a plethora of hazards like falls, getting struck by debris, or electrical incidents. But officials say by being proactive rather than reactive, they can make sure those risks are minimized.
Safety is not the absence of accidents. It's the capacity to fail safely. So building defenses into your program, assuming that something is going to happen.
Working for you in Rockford, Connor Hollingsworth, 23 News.
Johnson says each worker has an opportunity to promote their own safety. If they see something they feel like should be addressed, they can bring it up to a supervisor, and special education can be taught around that issue.
So there you go. Definitely something you would not expect, number one, to make the news. Number two, that it being part of the normal conversation. And listen, I mean, I understand Pozel's excitement. I was pretty excited about it. I was able to send it out to a few people that I know that have used that common language for 30 years or more in regards on how this needs to be the common thing inside of the workplace. How this needs to be the thing that is discussed and addressed inside of the world. Now, imagine that real quick. We talked about safety is not the absence of accidents. It is the presence of safeguard, the presence of capacity, being able to tie all of these things together. Now, that has been something years in the work as we continue to shift on how safety is looked at. Then you heard a reference there of where people can come in and talk about where they believe something is going wrong and work out something, which is essentially a versionality of a learning team. Boy, does that sound different than what we're accustomed to. Boy, does that sound different than everything else that we've heard in the past. And it's good to see that mainstream media, to an extent, is talking about this. It's good to see that there's changes within the industry. Now, here's the thing. As you know, we have been talking about this for some time, but this work has been done for 25 to 30 years. And if you really think about it for a moment, the people that heard this many, many, many years ago are probably now getting into roles of leadership. And now that I'm saying people are aging out, but if you look at it, that's kind of how that shift and transition is going. And it's amazing just to see. It's amazing to hear the changes. It's amazing to see this work that all these other people did many, many, many years ago is finally, well, I won't say it's finally paying off, but it's finally flourishing into the general public. So, are we getting to the point where BBS is no longer as big of a deal that it once was? I don't know. Because remember, blaming the employee is not going to help. But taking a look at what the hell's going on inside of the systems will always help things change in the long run. Think about that for a moment, because it might take you places.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You are listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
This portion of the show has been sponsored by Private Internet Access, America's #1 virtual private network, or VPN. Even if you use incognito mode, internet service providers is storing your browser data and many times even selling it. But Private Internet Access, or PIA, can help you. PIA encrypts and reroutes your internet traffic through one of its own servers, hiding your data from your internet service provider or network admin. And with servers in over 75 countries, you can get unrestricted access to geo-blocked content from around the world. PIA comes with easy-to-use apps and browsers extension for all devices, a rock-solid privacy policy, open source security, advanced customization settings, and it was just ranked the fastest VPN in the world by PC Magazine. And if you sign up right now with BIA, you can take advantage of a special deal only for Safety FM listeners. Only by using the following link, you can get the digital privacy for less than $2 a month. Yes, you did hear me correctly, less than $2 a month, and an extra 4 months for free. So that means for only $1.98 a month and 83% off, you can get this service for you right now. That's so much more inexpensive than virtually every other VPN on the market. And if you get it right now, you can take BIA's 30-day risk-free challenge. You can try it out for 30 days, see if you like it, and if not, just return it for a full refund. So just go to safetyfm.com/VPN. That's safetyfm.com/VPN to try out the best VPN on the planet completely risk-free. Now remember, safetyfm.com/VPN. Have you ever wanted to start live streaming and were not sure how to do it? You can start live streaming up to 40 social media platforms all at one time for as little as nada. It's going to cost you your time. That is what it's going to cost. You can pre-record, you can live stream, you can do a multitude of things. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to safetyfm.com/one. That's safetyfm.com/ONE. Let's start using cutting-edge work-speed 5G technology with your cell phone. Let me tell you about my friends at mobilemobile.io. They have an ultra-fast 4G LTE and 5G network that covers 99% of Americans. So they've got you covered everywhere. Think about it for a moment. You have the opportunity to take a test drive for 10 days with unlimited talk, text, and premium data. What is premium data? Premium data is an allotment of a cellular data that you receive from a higher priority on the network. You won't get throttled like you will with some of those, well, non-brand service providers. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to mobilemobile.io. That's mobilemobile.io to start your 10-day free trial.
Is your safety old, stale, and hackney? Safety trainers still preaching and warped version. How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetyWars.com or call Jim Polzel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
This show is almost as enjoyable as hearing the sound of the toilet flush. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Cutting words or forget what you heard. Making friends over enemy, taking compliments 'cause they're free. Breaking up but making up, forgetting that we're all in love. If you're looking for it, you'll find it. If you're looking for it, you'll find it. If you're looking for it, you'll find it. If you're looking for it, if you're looking for it, you'll find it. If you're looking for it, you'll find it. If you're looking for it, you'll find it. If you're looking for it.
Okay, there you go. 43 minutes past the top of the hour. This still is the Rated R Safety Show. Hour number one of the Jay Allen in the Morning Show. This right here is The Prams by Monochromatic. Monochromatic. We want to thank the Prams for allowing us to play this here on this show. Coming across at Safety FM and Radio Big. So let's get into it a little bit slower now. So there you go, there you go, there you go. So let's start talking. Let's start talking about everything that's going on inside of this little world of ours, because that's going to be an important aspect of what the hell is going on. And I want to tell you real quick, and I want to tell you about this great organization that's called To Write Love on Her Arms. You can find more information about them at TWLOHA.com. That's TWLOHA.com. Listen, I'm going to tell you there are times in life that we struggle. There are times in life that we go through things. I mean, that's there is no doubt about it. And if you go to their website and you click on any of the buttons, it's there. But if you go in particularly into the one about self-care, they will tell you different techniques on different things that you can do, different ways to, interact with when things are not going well. Find ways to move, do something creative. I mean, visualize a place of comfort. Understand that you are worthy, you are enough, and you belong here. I mean, there's so many different things that are on that website that you can interact with. All you have to do is go to TWLOHA.com. I will tell you, one of the greatest organizations that I've seen in regards of helping out with self-care, mental health, emotional distress, all available to you right there online. And believe me, they will tell you about local resources that are available. I'm going to tell you about this event. If you are in the Orlando area, I think it'd be pretty cool if you can do it. I mean, they have events throughout a lot of places, but it's called the Show Up Fest. And the Show Up Fest is taking place on the 29th of April, right on the outskirts of Orlando in a little area called Melbourne. I would tell you if you're there, it would be great to see you there. I have plans and intentions on being there in some way, shape, or form. And I think that you should go there too in regards to what's going on. I mean, they even have online events that you can actually be involved in, just so you know. They have events throughout the world, but you can even do some of the stuff that they do online. TWLOHA.com as we are talking. Let's get into some news and some other things that are going on inside of here, because, I mean, that's what we do around here. So, what do you think about saving plans? Here's the newest modern day malady. Digital hoarding. Now, take a listen to this. The Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorder defines digital hoarding. A substyle of hoarding disorder involves the collection of and difficulty parting with excessive amounts of digital material, and experts say it's a growing problem. Do any of these things start to ring a bell? The average person has at least 40 apps installed on their phone, but uses less than 50% of them. Millions of people have inboxes with more than 1,000 unread emails. 60% of us never delete any pictures or videos from our digital devices. Dr. Dasharna Sedera, Deputy Dean of the Director of the Digital Enterprise Labs in Southern Cross University, says that it appears that to be a correlation between the number of social media platforms a user uses and amount of content that they store. And when it comes to rather the new phenomenon, not all generations are affected equally. Gen Xers and millennials are both likely to display symptoms of digital hoarding, but our younger generation, especially digital natives, and the logical to expert even greater levels of hoarding behavior. Delete pictures. Did I do that? I'd never known when it's time to get a phone and with the whole memory thing. I mean, like, do you delete stuff? And great, I can imagine someone already working on a reality show about this now. It's called digital hoarding. There's something to think about.
Listen to our host
of the Rated R Safety Show.
Self-implode on our airwaves, only on Safety FM.
I mean, do you have a digital hoarding problem? I mean, let me take a look real quick. I'm just going to take a look at pictures in regards of what amount of pictures this thing says that I have. So just taking a lookser. I only have 8,925 pictures on my device. And let's not even talk about emails. At least I check them. I just have a hard time deleting stuff because I always like to have proof where I can turn around and go, well, this is what happened. And this is what I did. And here's the proof. And it doesn't matter the amount of years. Because I remember many, many, many years ago going through a court case where my emails were used. Yeah. Yep. That was a long time ago. But we'll talk about that at a later point. That's for sure. So, by the way, we got some news that I will probably share via social media post later on today about some things happening here at Safety FM, which I'm pretty excited about. But we'll just do a formalized release later on today in regards to what's going on. So be on the lookout for that because exciting times. Oh yes, so excited. By the way, in regards to sharing some new information about some things going on with a show or two over here. So there you go. Some things going on right there. Anyways, it is 50 minutes past the top of the hour. Let's talk real quick about some other things that are going on. As people get older, they get all worried about gray hairs. Well, according to a Glamour magazine, silver hair is the hot spring thing about this year. Bree Tennis has some more information. Take a listen to this.
Scientists at NYU have figured out why our hair turns gray as we age. It's scientific. Hair grows from follicles where pigment-producing melanocytes live. Melanocytes produce color, then die off, then renew until they don't, and the gray marches in. Researchers say they now know why we go gray, but can they stop it? Researchers in this study say yes, but it's going to take some time. I'm Bree Tennis, NBC News Radio.
Just diet. That will change everything for you. Anyways, an overwhelming majority of younger professionals say that they would quit their job over company values. Michael Kastner has more information.
A new survey by LinkedIn found nearly 9 in 10 Gen Z and millennial professionals would be prepared to leave a job or go to another company whose values more closely aligned with their own. Researchers said younger generations want to work for companies where they can evoke change and make a difference. The numbers aren't quite as dramatic for Gen X professionals, but still a substantial 70%. Gen Z covers people aged 26 and younger, while millennials are those ages 27 to 42, and Gen X refers to people in their mid-40s to late 50s. I'm Michael Kastner.
Okay, thank you, Michael Kastner, for that information right there on what is going on inside of the world. That is for sure. I mean, there you go. Take a listen to this real quick. Detroit Police Chief James White held his first Walk a Mile Wednesday of the year yesterday, hearing from the residents in the 11th precinct. White began the walk when he was the interim chief.
And just let them know that they matter. We hear them. Their issues and concerns are super important to us.
He says that the abandoned cars and getting speed bumps installed were among the top issues discussed. White adds that talking to children also is vital. Detroit Police Chief White enjoys the Walk a Mile Wednesday.
Gives me a chance to get out the office and get out of some of the more serious stuff and get out here and talk to and work with our community.
Now, working with the community is probably the most serious stuff that you can do. Take a listen to this. Coming out of Chicago, Mayor Lightfoot is one step closer to leaving office after proceedings over her final city council meeting as mayor of Chicago. Lightfoot received some kind of words yesterday from some of the harshest critics, including Alderman Raymond Lopez.
Your presence made me become a better alderman. I think my presence helped you become a better mayor. And at the end, together, we help make this a better city.
The mayor wrapped up last meeting without addressing the council or the media afterwards. Mayor-elect Brandon Johnson will replace her when he is sworn in on May the 15th. So there you go. Some stuff going on right there. Anyways, with that being said, I think it's time for us to get motivated. So let's have the Motivation Minute with some Johnny Smalls. I mean, why would we not want that? Take a listen.
The Motivation Minute is courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. Today's quote was submitted by Adam. Mark Twain said, "I've had a lot of worries in my life, most of which never happened." I love his quotes, and this one's great. How many times have you feared something that was not there? Maybe it started with a monster under the bed. There was never a monster. It was just a fear. In life, we often worry about things that are not worth worrying about. We spend time thinking about these negative things that could happen rather than focusing on things we should focus on. Thoughts that lead to positive things. Next time you have a negative thought, face it full on. Look under that bed and see that there's no monster down there. Then you can live your life without fear. This has been today's Motivation Minute, courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. They're known for insurance quotes. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Your Wellness Minute is brought to you by alessamorgan.com. During exercise, our muscles can produce BDNF, improving learning and memory and supporting neurogenesis. However, exercise also acts as an antidepressant by eliminating a neurotoxin. Put another way, not only does exercise cause our skeletal muscle to produce beneficial compounds, it also causes it to detoxify the harmful ones. Vigorous exercise encourages muscles to act like a sponge and take up kynurenine, preventing its conversion to a neurotoxic agent that has been implicated in many mental disorders, including depression. There is overwhelming evidence that exercise helps with depression. A meta-analysis of 25 randomized controlled trials found that exercise reduced depressive symptoms, and this effect was particularly strong for moderate to vigorous intensity aerobic exercise. For more information, check out alessamorgan.com.
It's this show, and they just make fun of a whole bunch of people. It's just too funny. It's too stupid.
Rated R Safety Show.
Yeah, too stupid is probably the way to go with it. There is no doubt about that there. Anyways, let's talk about some things that happened back on this date. As I take a look around, let's see. Back in 2008, Danica Patrick becomes the first woman to win the Indy race. The race was in Japan, though, but its noteworthy accomplishments is nonetheless. In 2009, she placed number 3 on the Indy 500. So there you go. That happened back in 2008. If you're looking at some birthdays for today, I have some of those. Let's talk about some of that. Carlos Valdez turns 34. Miranda Kerr turns 40. Tan France, 40. Terrence J turns 41. Joey Lawrence, 47. Carmen Electra turns 51 today. Shamar Moore turns 53. Julia Morris, 55. Andy Serkis turns 59. Jessica Lange, 74. Ryan O'Neal, 82. And George Takei, yes, from Star Trek fame and now Howard Stern show, turns 86 today. So there you go. What else do we have? Days of the year that you can celebrate. It's National Cheddar Fries Day. It's National Auctioneer Day. College Student Grief Awareness Day. Get to Know Your Customer Day. National Pineapple Upside Down Cake Day. National High Five Day, Volunteer Recognition Day, and Chinese Language Day. Listen, it's 420. There has to be some marijuana-oriented thing going on today. Let's not lie about that, because it seems like we left that one out for some God-unknown reason. But yeah, that happens today. Just a little FYI. Anyways, if you need a random joke for today, my wife got mad at the fact that I have no sense of direction, so I simply packed up my stuff and write. You get it? Yeah, I hope so. Anyways, if you need a phone starter for today, try this. What odd smell do you really enjoy? No, seriously. What odd smell do you really like? I'm kind of almost afraid to ask other people to answer that question because of the amount of oddity that might come back as that answer. If you need something for the water cooler, try this. A survey of divorced people found this was the number one thing that annoyed them about their ex. What was it? Selective hearing. I thought it was going to be something about sex. I mean, I'm just saying. That's what I thought it was going to say. So there you go. Anyways, at the top of the hour, I will be hanging out on radiobig.fm. If you want to come and hang out with me, I would love to see you there for the next couple hours or so as we talk about the world of entertainment and play some music together. All you have to do is go to radiobig.fm or go to Radio Big on TuneIn Radio, or you can also go to Radio Big on iHeartRadio, and that will get everything moving and grooving for you. Or you can stay on Safety FM and hang out with Sheldon Primus as he talks about the business of safety consulting. If I can't leave you with a deep thought for today, I would love to leave you with this one. Serenity is not the freedom from the storm, but the peace amid the storm. Think about that today. Anyways, thank you for always being the best part of Safety FM and Radio Big, and that is the listener. I know who you are.
Duh.
You know who I am. Love you, mean it, and goodbye. Hopefully, see you in a few moments.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.
Sunshine burns in cutting words.